Do you plan on continuing your fixation page?
It keeps my lights on.
So in the upcoming episode, we have a snippet of Grayson talking to Maurice at his apartment, and he's asking the question of, so your fixation page, are you still planning to run it? I guess this is under the assumption of these two having a conversation about what Grayson overheard when Maurice was speaking to a client in last week's episode, basically referencing the fact that he's not looking for love or a relationship or a husband or marriage or whatever. And Grayson overheard it and felt like Maurice was serious about it, but Maurice made it clear that's a client. I'm not trying to get someone's hopes up. And I think that's a very smart thing to do because, like I mentioned in my other video about Grayson being gone for good, possibly, it's just the fact that if you have any sort of social media page, it's not just restricted to OnlyFans too. As a YouTube creator, there are some people I talk with on a semi-regular basis about these shows, but if you're in a position, even an everyday average person, if you have a page or if you're on a dating site or whatever, or messenger, and you're chatting with someone, some folks, they will take what you say very seriously if they feel like they're being led on. It's like, oh, this person really is into me. Without you knowing, they'll try to fly out to your location, and next thing you know, you'll have this internet stranger at your front door. So yeah, Maurice is doing good by making sure he's not, he's setting the boundaries of his particular platform. But Grayson took it as him being serious about it on and off the fixation page. So I guess Grayson's coming over to having, a heart-to-heart with Maurice about what their future looks like, even though it's only been a few days, but whatever. But based on how Grayson asked the question, it's so if me and you start officially dating, will you still keep doing your page? And like Maurice said, well, it keeps my lights on because this is his only way of making an income at the moment. But we do know later in the season, he will be back at the bank working with Sabrina, which pretty much solidifies that Sabrina at some point gets the manager position over Paige. And I'm guessing that Maurice, as a way to persuade Grayson to continue dating him, decides to give up his page and, goes back to working his regular job, which I feel is kind of messed up in a way because Grayson, if I remember correctly, didn't he meet Maurice through his page? So it's so you knew what I was about before we even started seeing each other. And now you're oh, if you want to be with me, you have to give up your page. But it's that's how I make my money. What, are you going to pay my bills and whatnot? It's just one of those things where in today's landscape, this is a very serious question to ask. Is if someone has an OnlyFans page or something to that effect, you might feel some kind of way if you start dating that person. And I'll just say, if you didn't know, if let's say you just randomly met someone, I don't know, on a dating site, or you bump into them at Food Lion or something like that. And then you start up a conversation and, you start seeing each other. And then you find out that they have an OnlyFans page. It's oh, wow. But maybe it isn't their only source of income, but it's their main one. I mean, how would you feel? Would you date someone who has an OnlyFans page? I've honestly had these conversations with friends yo, man, back in college, when we would think about talking to girls about, life stuff, OnlyFans never wasn't a subject. But nowadays it is a legitimate question to ask. Do you have that kind of stuff going on? And if we got together, would you still do it? But I mean, there's so much money. It's look, I only get on there and show my feet, or I only get on there and it's they don't see my face, but they see my body. And it's well, I mean, hey, I'll hold the camera, but I don't know. It's just one of those things where, do you think Grayson has a right to kind of tell Maurice not to do it if you want to date me, considering the fact that that's how they met in the first place? So do you think Maurice will give up his page in order to date Grayson? Let me know in the comment section below. And honestly, we are going into episode 9. And I think this is probably one of the better seasons for Maurice. I mean, he's in the show just enough so we don't forget he's there, but he doesn't overstay his welcome like in previous seasons due to the Q nonsense with Calvin. So yeah, I've been liking the Maurice we've been seeing so far this season. But again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.